Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to listen up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
And just like that, Ryan, we are back in the state of Maryland. Phil and Ryan, listen up. Thank you, KK, as always, for the intro. Oh man, Ryan, it's like that movie, right? I mean, sorry for my lack of energy right now. We're not going to complain because that's what uh, uh UConn Huskies fans and the players do best is not complain, right? They take care of business. So we're not going to complain. We're here for all UConn Huskies women's basketball talk with that drive, man. Let me tell you, Ryan, it's like that movie, Dorothy. Like, what did she do? She snapped her finger and she's right back on the yellow brick road or something like that, right? So it's just like Ryan, in the snap of a finger, and about 24 hours later, here we are in Maryland on Listen Up.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun trip. It went by really quick, just like everything always does, but definitely had a really good time up in Connecticut again. Thanks to everybody who made it happen. And we met some terrific people. So yeah, we definitely had a good time. Atmosphere was unlike any other, but I'm sure as you guys can tell, we're both definitely really tired out. Only been home for about 30 minutes, if even that. So we're gonna try to grind out this episode and yeah, turn the book really quick. Huskies play again on Sunday, 5 o'clock, of course, against Minnesota. So yeah, it should be another interesting game, but a quick turnaround for sure.
All right, the last check-in. You're right. The last check-in here on this Friday night as we get ready for the game. Paige Bueckers' homecoming game, right? I know they announced this like what, over a year ago. I think we've known about
Yeah.
this, just one specific game. So I remember we had an episode on it, a brief episode about Paige Bueckers returning to her hometown, Brian. Just very quickly before we get into the last check-in, and comments. I know last night's episode was kind of different, and we apologize to you guys for not getting into comments. Just it was just something different, Ryan, if you will. So, but I want to shout out to, that's what I told you. I don't like airplane rides too much. I mean, they're okay, but the road trip that you and I just took, I want to shout out to people in Delaware, right? New Jersey. Even 45 minutes. We were just there, what, like 3 hours ago? 45 minutes ago, in Gettysburg, all right? Gettysburg. I want to shout out to everyone, Ryan. I mean, I know that you can speak for yourself and for me too, just how nice everyone was. And I don't know if it's like a good or a bad thing it's good that you had your UConn Huskies shirt on, going all the way down back south. But I had this Listen Up shirt on, and I think a lot of people didn't realize, okay, what's going on? Something is off here. Here we have this weird looking guy in his Maryland hat. Ryan is in his UConn shirt. So yeah, they kept, I mean, you could tell him how many weird looks we got going in and out of restaurants and stopping to take bathroom breaks. Yeah. So, but I mean, the connections we made on the way up and the way back down, everyone was amazing. And everyone that we ran into just, yeah, much love, much love. And we thank everyone, not just in UConn, Ryan, but again, we was shocked at how much support we received on the way back down south.
Yeah, I mean, probably people were just looking at us because we look weird and funny. Not probably probably not
That's
because
it.
of
Yeah.
the shirts the
Yeah.
shirts we had on, but yeah, it was nice to see everybody. Beautiful scenery on the way up and down. But yeah, Connecticut as well, a beautiful place. Yeah,
Mhm.
like we said, would love to visit again. Try to make it a yearly thing. Wish we could come up more. Maybe we can, but definitely gonna make it at least a yearly thing. But yeah, beautiful scenery all the way up and down, and Connecticut, Hartford, Manchester, beautiful cities.
All right, Minnesota women's basketball, Ryan. They have to face the UConn Huskies on Sunday, led by head coach, Minnesota's head coach, that is Dawn uh, White. And Ryan, their most recent victory for the Gophers came on November the 15th. And that was a win against North Dakota, North Dakota State, the North Dakota State Bison. So this Minnesota team is really turning around, right? Wednesday, The Gophers, they're 3-0 now, Ryan, but they haven't faced a true test. This is their first real test in UConn. They got a career high 20 points and 9 assists. I saw from point guard Amaya Battle. Mallory Heyer had 12 points and 12 rebounds for her 6th career double-double. So I think, going into this matchup, I have to admit, I haven't seen a lot of highlights from Minnesota. I think it's safe to say that as long as UConn picks up from where it left off last night when we were there against Maryland, I don't. Again, I know the record usually speaks for itself. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Gophers 3-0. To be honest with you, I'm sure you know what my prediction is if I say this already for the end, and we won't forget, Ryan. But I don't expect this game to be close.
Yeah, I don't think it will either, but I think Minnesota is a good team. They really have it's a fairly young team as well. The starting lineup only has one junior, the 6'5" center, Sophie Hart, only junior in the lineup, 3 sophomores, 1 freshman. Amaya Battle, of course, went to Paige's high school in Hopkins, Minnesota. Paige said she's kind of like a little sister, a younger sister to Paige. So I know she's looking forward to meeting her and playing against her. But yeah, Paige's homecoming game. It should be a really fun time for her. Of course, she did say during a press conference that it was going to be more of a business trip, maybe eat at a fancy restaurant, but strictly a business trip for Paige. When she plays this game back in Minnesota. But Mara Brown too, the sophomore guard, can really shoot the ball, really impressive. Good 3-point shooter. She'll probably be the main scorer, but Amaya Battle can also score too. All the players in the starting lineup, they have a really talented team. But just, I don't think quite the talent to compete with UConn. But I really hope that the UConn can kind of start this game out pretty strong, because I think UConn, I think the first game they started out pretty strong, but then against more stiffer competition against NC State and Maryland, I think UConn kind of struggled to get out to a quick, strong start. So I'm hoping against this game against Minnesota, the Huskies can kind of start out quick, keep the lead through the whole entire game, all 4 quarters, kind of keep it pretty consistent. And hopefully too, as well, we can see, a lot of momentum travel over from Stores to all the way to Minnesota. Good performances from Ice Brady, KK Arnold, and pretty much everybody, all the freshmen, Caden Samuels, Ashlyn Shade. So hopefully they can keep it rolling as well and carry some of the momentum from their last game.
Yeah. It's crazy you mentioned that, because we had discussions, right? I mean, that's all we did was pretty much we were listening to music on the car ride up and back down, but we had UConn Huskies discussions, right? I mean, you and I, at any time, it's like back in the day before we started the podcast, we would used to get together and just talk about, well, what did you do yesterday or this and that. No, and now when Ryan and I I don't care if it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, but hey, Ryan, how you doing? So the UConn Huskies, I mean, that's the first thing right now out of our mouth as soon as you and I get together, no matter what family event it is or in the car or wherever. But, we're talking on the way back down, right? And I said, man, Ryan, they need another strong performance from Paige Bueckers. Of course, Phil says that. And you're like, well, Phil, I mean, I think it's the bench, not to take anything away from Paige or the starters, but I think it's the bench that is contributing a lot. And I think that's what's doing it. And so, in other words, I think Ryan thinks that if the bench slows down, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, then maybe the Huskies may be in trouble somewhat, and not in every game, but in some games this season. So again, depth, very important, something that we didn't really see last year, the year before, right? So yeah, I think when you talk about Ice Brady, KK Arnold, and then Ashlyn Shade, they are all of a sudden like the talk of the town just within 24 hours, right?
Yeah, and Caden Samuels as well. I think, all the bench players that you just mentioned play a tremendous part in every single game. They're going to continue continue to throughout the whole entire season. Gino keeps saying that they're going to continue to get minutes, so hopefully they continue to shine in those minutes on the court. They did an incredible job this past recent game against Maryland. Playing defense, scoring the ball, seeing KK run the floor in person, how quick she is getting up and down the court. That was really fun to see. But yeah, I just think for Paige, I mean, she's gonna get her point. She's always gonna do her thing. Like Gino said, it's not like she has to do a lot, just score 20, 30 points each game. But yeah, I mean, Paige is always gonna do her thing. Of course, we can't forget about AZ Fudd as well. No updates yet on her status. Gino said I think she might have had some swelling in her knee, so maybe they had to wait to do the MRI. But so far, no updated status on AZ. I wouldn't think she's probably not going to play in this game, but hopefully she won't be out for many games to come.
All right, comment time on Listen Up, Ryan. We have a lot of good ones. I wish I could read them all to you. Let's go to Jason D'Amico. My heart is breaking for AZ, Ryan. Just that you mentioned her just now, so I'll read about this one. It just caught my eye. My heart is breaking for AZ. Jason goes, I can only imagine what must be going through her mind right now. Yeah, and you and I saw her, Ryan. We spoke about that in pregame when we arrived, and yeah, she did not look too happy. This was a great bounce back game for UConn. Let's hope they can keep that killer mentality every game and not just when they lose. That is a habit even the best teams can fall into. That said, damn, Paige is really good at basketball, isn't she? Not only she play with a poked eye, but she is also playing at a master level with a thumb cast on her left hand. The woman can hardly cross dribble, and she is still beating opponents to the mark. Can you imagine how many ankles she is going to break when that comes off? I can't wait. Glad you had fun, fellas. Peace. Yeah. Two things very quickly, Ryan. Well, AZ was into the game, and she did seem more happier, right? Obviously, they all seemed happy, and we were happy to see it. As far as when the game went further and further down the stretch last night. But not only that, Ryan, he brought up about Paige wearing the cast, the thumb cast. Isn't it weird, to say the least, how you see these college athletes, professional athletes, sometimes like a mask on their face, or like a cast, a thumb cast, or say a brace on their knee or their arm, to assist with their arm, whatever. They perform sometimes better, right? Better than if they were 100% healthy.
And we haven't really talked about it a lot. How Paige, I forgot for a little bit that she even has the cast on her thumb, because you can't tell at all. You really can't by the way she's playing. But yeah, I think for AZ is obviously disappointed. You could see the disappointment in her face for last night's game. But yeah, hopefully she's not out for a long extended period of time. But yeah, hopefully they can carry the momentum from last night's game into Sunday's game. And like I said, just carry the performances over, keep that going. Would be nice to see as well.
All right, moving on to the next one, Ryan. We jumped down to Lindsay Matthews. P.S. I hope you got to walk around the campus, around Gamble. The scenery up there. I live in New Haven, and Stores is so special. Thank you for visiting our state.
Yeah, unfortunately we didn't, because I think when we arrived it was already dark. Unfortunately, didn't really have time to visit the campus. We talked about it, but definitely next time we'll make sure to arrive a little bit earlier when it's still light out, and drive around the campus, walk around. But yeah, like I said, beautiful city and state. Looked like a really nice area everywhere we went down there. Definitely really busy. All the students kept lining up for the game, and like I said, the atmosphere was just incredible. So yeah, really special, definitely for our first time there. Really fun time.
I like this one. Bon Riley Oh, by the way, the best comment I've heard in a long time, the lady announcer on FS1, I believe that was Christy Winter Scott,
Yeah.
said after, because we saw her, but I don't know if I assume that she was on FS1 last night. She said after Paige got her eye poked, let me start over, Ryan. The lady announcer on FS1 said after Paige got her eye poked and they were in the middle of the big second quarter run, quote, "You don't shake the tree with the bee's nest," end quote. Ah, my.
No, you don't. I think it really did. It ignited a fire under Paige after she came back, had to sit on the bench for a while. I think she got a little mad. I think she really did. And when she came out, she didn't look back after that. Scored the ball really well. And like I said, not only for Paige, she played great after that, even with the bruise under her eye, cast on her thumb. But the three freshmen as well, Ice, Ash, and KK, that were on the floor with her for most of those minutes in that lineup. That lineup played really well together. So that was really good to see as well. You know, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see the different lineups moving forward that Gino uses. But it seemed like everything was working pretty good last night.
Okay, one more. The disruptive one. KK and Shade were great, and Paige was great. It was much better performance. We still need to change our starting lineup. Our starting lineup has not been the best lineup in a single game yet. I like KK, Paige, Aubrey, Ice, Aaliyah until AZ comes back.
Yeah, I definitely can't disagree with KK in the starting lineup. And I think Ice and Aaliyah down low, I think that could, you know, Gino could definitely try that for a couple games. I'd love to see KK in the starting lineup alongside Paige and possibly Aubrey or Caroline. I think for Caroline, you know, Gino kind of said she's off and on. She had a really good shoot around before the game last night and just didn't perform the best. So, but when Caroline's on, she's really on and she can score the ball really well. But KK, just I think her being in the starting lineup, she's great coming off the bench, provides so much energy. But I think she can do the same thing in the starting lineup. And I think that can kind of enable UConn to get out to a really quick start that I've kind of been talking about. But I think either way, I think, you know, definitely the starting lineup could possibly get a little better and maybe enable UConn to get out to a better start.
Yeah, one more, Ryan. I had to read this one because again, we can't believe it. So glad you were there. Environment was electric. The UConn women's team played beautiful team basketball, women's college basketball at its finest. Yeah, Ryan. I mean, we cannot say it enough. I don't know if you and I have ever been to a men's or women's basketball game, NBA, WNBA, college, that has been more electric than what compared to last night. I don't think I've been to now. I mean, you talk about other sports, yeah, but I don't know. Basketball, I cannot ever remember being at a basketball game where it was that loud.
No, I know I haven't for sure. And then, like I said, that was the first thing that I noticed when we got there. Sold out crowd, just a little over 10,000, which is surprising to me, that actually smaller than most you know, college arenas that are in women's college basketball. But you know, even though they're just a little over 10,000 in attendance, it felt like 30,000 people were there with the student section and just everybody. You know, and especially the way UConn was playing definitely helped too. When, you know, why everybody was so loud during the whole game. So, you know, just that electric lineup, electric atmosphere. There's no wonder why UConn plays so good when they're at home, because of the fans definitely always behind them.
Yeah, Ryan. And how about the dogs? We didn't talk about the dog. There's so much we could go on and on. We have to end it. Austin is calling us. We have to end it. He said it's time to go, right? But the dogs, the husky dogs that walked around, you know, we got to pet them. That it was a great time. It's like, you know, daydreaming now, night dreaming about last night. What a time! What a time! Great time. And we would definitely be back Ryan. And again, to everyone, follow me on Instagram, Philip Becerra, and some pictures there of last night that Ryan, even you don't want to miss, right? And you're actually in them, but you don't want to miss the pictures, if that makes any sense. Ryan, hey, very quickly, we will have predictions before we head out and face Minnesota on Sunday. I'm taking UConn over Minnesota 90. Yeah, 90, Ryan. I think this team is coming together each practice day, each week. I think you're starting to see a lot more progress. I know North Carolina State, it is what it is. You're going to have games like that. That's what makes a team become better. I'm taking UConn on Sunday 90-65. 90-65, UConn over Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota in the Big Ten Conference, a tough conference. It's kind of weird that all the ranked teams have lost at least once in the Big Ten Conference. I think Minnesota, like I said, a very talented lineup, young lineup. I think, they could definitely make a statement win against UConn. Would be a really big upset, obviously. But, I have UConn in this game. I'm going to go 86-65 in favor of UConn, but I think Minnesota, their future is definitely bright, and I'd like to see them in future years because I think they could possibly have a chance down the road to definitely get ranked.
Aubrey Griffin too. Keep your eye on Aubrey Griffin. She had a tremendous game against Maryland, and we expect her to keep up the hard work. All of them, KK Arnold, everyone. Ryan, I'll leave you with this: one way to keep momentum going is to have constantly greater goals. We know who has greater goals, especially going into her hometown, right, Ryan? The former Hopkins High School student, Ryan, the Minnesota native, returns as they face the Minnesota Golden Gophers Sunday, Ryan, November the 19th. And we will be back with you guys. A quick warning, Ryan, due to your schedule and my schedule, the game recap will be released. We will be back with you all after the game, but not immediately following. We will be back later on Sunday night. It's Phil and Rye on Listen Up.